Hi, I'm Allison from Lazy Meter Fromage, and I just wanted to chat to you today about Munster. Munster is kind of a badly named cheese, I guess. I think people think about it and think, oh, it's really strong and so smelly. I would never want to serve that to people, but actually it's so delicious. So this is a piece right here. Maybe you can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it particularly well. I'll lift it a little closer. It is a washed rind cheese. So washed rind means something is being brushed on the outside while it ripens, and that's what gives it this sort of yellowy orange color on the outside, and definitely gives it its strong aroma. So Munster definitely has a legitimate claim to being a strong smelling cheese. I opened the fridge earlier to bring this piece out to temper it and thought, okay, that smells strong. When it's at the store, we don't really notice it because everything smells a little bit fragrant. But here I did definitely notice it. And it's typical of this style of cheese, and this particular cheese in specific, that it would have a little bit of a sticky, almost damp looking, like right up to quite wet looking rind, and that's totally normal. It's not a sign of a flaw or the cheese is overripe. It's just the way that cheese ripens. So you'll get this sort of orangey color on the outside, a little bit of dampness, and you definitely can eat the crust of that. I think sometimes people are unsure a little bit about washed rind cheeses. Should you eat that crust? Should you not? I mean, of course you can take it off if you don't like it, and it will have a little bit of a sandy feel to it on your teeth when you're eating it. But to me, it's really tasty and a really nice part of it. The other kind of cool thing about these really stronger, a little bit sturdier cheeses is you can have something a bit stronger to have with it. If you're having a more delicate cheese, you don't really want to have a strong cracker or too strong a compote or fruit, because it'll really drown out the taste of the cheese. With something like Munster, it's very strong and has lots of flavor, so it can really stand up to something. Today I chose these Moor crackers, which are sort of a Norwegian style cracker. These ones have poppy seed and rye flour, so they're pretty hearty, but they really, like the Munster, can stand up to them. And the flavors really marry nicely. They're kind of a bit nutty, so they really flavor nicely with the earthiness of the Munster. Munster is really, its official name now is Munster Jérôme. And that's because it's really based on two cheeses. One cheese made in Alsace, in the northeastern part of France, and one on the other side of the Vosges Mountains, which is sort of the border of Alsace, on the other side of the Vosges Mountains in Lorraine, the next sort of department over. And they made the similar cheese on either side of the mountains. And when they were talking about making an AOC designation for this cheese, they really determined it's basically the same cheese. The milk all comes from farms in the Vosges Mountains. It's made in the same way. And so they've really given it both cheese names, and it's sort of the same thing. It's more commonly made in Alsace, and that's where you would see it often. And named for the town of Munster, which is the site of a 7th century monastery, which is where the town gets its name originally. The other kind of fun thing about Munster is you can serve lots of other interesting things with it. We had it served in Alsace to us with toasted cumin seeds, which is just an interesting kind of little fragrant note, and worked really well and is pretty interesting. And I think it will even stand up because it's so savory and a little bit salty. Washed rind cheeses tend to be a little bit salty. I think you can even serve something quite sweet with it. So you could serve like a jam or jelly that I might not serve with just anything. I think it will stand up to it. So you can certainly do that. And one thing, wine pairing is pretty interesting. I find stronger, saltier cheeses, you can definitely do something a little sweeter. The typical pairing of Munster is with Gewurztraminer, which is one of the noble grapes of the Alsace area. So I'm actually having my nice glass here today, a Gewurztraminer, and it's actually not from Alsace, it's from Germany. And that's just because that happened to be what we were having for dinner last night with a spicy stir fry, and it was really delicious. So this is a little sweeter Gewurztraminer, not a bone dry one, although you could serve a dry Gewurztraminer and it would work as well. This one has a little bit of sweetness, and you can see it has a little bit of age. The color of the wine might make you think it's a little over the hill. This one's from 2001, did you tell me?
2002.
2002. but it's delicious still, lots of life in it, and really tasty. And I think the richness of it will work really, really well with the with the earthiness of the Munster. So definitely when you're thinking about pairing those things, just consider all the sort of richness of the cheese and what will work well with it. So let's see. So I think these are nice thin crackers, but nice and sturdy. And you can see the cheese has quite a bit of give, but it's never going to be runny like a triple cream or double cream that's going to pour all over the plate. It has a bit more body than that, and definitely has a bit more strong smelling nature. It's making our kitchen smell quite strong. So you also want to think about that if you're having that after dinner when people have already had their wine and other food that's a bit more delicate, then that's a great time to have it, because maybe they've already had a glass or two of wine. They might not notice how strong it smells, and you'll notice it the next day on the plates left over from your dinner party for sure. You definitely would want to consider what other cheeses you served with it as well. You wouldn't want to serve something very mild beside it, because I think it would just get lost. So maybe like a nice mountain cheese, something hard and kind of sharp and nutty, and then maybe a blue. And those things will be able to stand up to the Munster and marry well with it. Would work really well together. So let's see how this works together. The cracker's great with it just because it's really thin and crisp. I didn't actually try it before now. It's delicious together. So I think a lot of the little tiny bit of sweetness and the really richness of the wine and that definite earthy kind of salty hint on the cheese is a really nice marriage. So hopefully you're enjoying your Sunday afternoon, and we'll get a chance in the future to try maybe a smaller piece of Munster if you're not so sure about it. And thanks for joining us. I'm Allison from Allison Spurrell. Cheers.